From the Daily Durian Toy Room, welcome to TV3.
From the Islamic Studio, welcome to TV3.
Welcome to TV3. On this week's episode, we'll be talking all about robots. Everything from Gundams to Transformers, and even the next look at Pacific Rim. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to my friends for helping me out with the intro this week. This is part of a new segment of the show where I ask you, the community, to help me intro the show every week. If you are interested, all you gotta do is send me a short little video clip of yourself with your location that could be anywhere from, let's say, a landmark in your city, or it could be something as small as the desk that you build your model kits on. Just give me your name, give me a proper intro, welcome to TV3, and I'll make sure to put you in the next episode. Our first bit of news comes from the Tamashii Nations 10th Anniversary World Tour. Now, Tamashii Nations makes a lot of different toys and whatnot, but I'm just going to focus on their NX Edge style stuff. Now, last week I talked about how it's a cool little cheap collector toy line, but they do too many Gundams, and I'm just not that into Gundams in this toy line. And here they showed off a couple different things, and it's the type of things I've been wanting to see. So, upcoming releases, they've shown off, first of all, Ultraman. Now, I'm not an Ultraman guy, but just to see Ultraman in this toy line is super cool. They showed off the Altizen from Super Robot Wars, and with the Altizen, you know there has to be a Weiss Ritter down the line somewhere else. Of course, there were the Gundam things, but these were more interesting Gundam things, like Full Armor Gundam. They showed off the Kamiki Burning Gundam, and they have this version of the Exia with LEDs in it so that the entire chest and head lights up, and that looks very cool, very tempting. I always wondered why the Exia wasn't part of the initial batch of NX Edge style, because I believe they went with the 00 Riser instead, but this is cool. I mean, we had to wait a little bit for the Exia, and now he's here, and he's got some built-in LEDs. Probably will be a bit more expensive, but that's definitely a cool little figure. And then the two that I was super hyped to see were number 4, Mechagodzilla. That looks like the most adorable little vicious NX Edge style thing I've seen. And then, of course, my favorite super robot, Tengatoppa Gurren Lagann. So yeah, definitely looking forward to these. Next, we'll be taking a look at some stuff over from the Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans line of kits. And first up, the Gundam Floros. Now, I did a review on this very recently, and if you don't remember, that's the one that's sort of hot pink. Not hot pink, but it's pink. It has a cannon shelling mode. It's pretty cool. I thought the kit was neat. But a lot of you guys in the comments said you didn't like the color and you wish it came in its original color scheme. Well, Bandai heard you, and as a Bandai exclusive, they're giving you the Gundam Floros Calamity War version. And this is the one that's white with the blue limbs and a slight change in the accessories. You're going to get the short-barreled cannons and the 2 knives. The assault knives, I think is what they were called. Easily looks like the better version of Floros to me. I personally love this color scheme more than the pink one, which is strange because I really do like pink robots, but this one looks just better. The design of the robot looks way better in these colors. Unfortunately, it's not going to get rid of the problem that the original kit suffered from, which was the heavy sticker use on the guns. So that sucks. And being a Bandai exclusive, it's going to be just a little bit more difficult to get a hold of and that much more expensive. So it kind of puts it outside the realms of me. Like, I don't like it enough that I would go out and get it. I'm still holding out hope for a 1/100 Floros. And if that happens, I might just paint it up in these colors instead. On the bright side, we got the next IBO Astaroth Origin kit, and this is the one that I have been looking forward to the most ever since the line art was first revealed sometime last year, and it is the Gundam Vual. Comes out in April, looking at 1,400 yen, black and purple. Now, I love red. If you could tell me what color would I like my Gundam in, it'd be red, but if I couldn't have red, it would be black and purple, and this thing looks incredible. The hammer it has is super cool. The shield it has is also very neat. The head sculpt is nuts. I think that looks so neat and vicious. It'll be interesting to see if this is a brand new kit or if it's got some parts used from the Astaroth Origin, because if you've read the manga or if you've read up on the story, the Astaroth Origin, the red one, a lot of its parts ended up being sold off to whoever the owner of this suit is, and he used those parts to make the Vual. So the feet look very similar, same with the waist piece, but overall, it looks like a very cool looking Gundam. Looking forward to this HG. Alright, switching gears over to something on the Transformers side of the fandom, we'll be taking a look at something unofficial. This is the Mastermind Creations reformatted Calidus I don't know who named it, but that's what it's called. It is the IDW, or More Than Meets the Eye version of Hot Rod, and this toy looks really cool. I'm not super big into the comics. I've only read maybe the first 20 issues of More Than Meets the Eye, but if there's one thing I loved about More Than Meets the Eye, it was both Hot Rod, Ultra Magnus, and Drift. Like, those three, that was the best part of that comic, and I love that stuff. We got a pretty good Ultra Magnus in the form of Hasbro's Combiner Wars one. We don't really have a good Drift, but we definitely don't have a Hot Rod, and Mastermind has decided to fill that niche, and I think it looks very good. It's not 100% perfect in terms of its accuracy to the comic book, but that's generally what happens with Transformers. You know, this thing still has to transform, and it looks pretty close. My only complaint is the faceplate on it, or the face sculpt. He just doesn't have that sort of cocky smugness to him. He just looks like a flat-faced robot, and that's a bit of a bummer. So I'm crossing my fingers that he comes with separate face options or different expressions, but I mean, overall, this toy looks pretty awesome. And the last item in the news isn't exactly a toy, but it's more of just a reveal, and this is the, I suppose, first official art for Pacific Rim 2, and I believe that's Pacific Rim Uprising. And we got this little card poster here that shows off, I'm just going to call it Gypsy Danger Mark II, and then his two buddies in the back. And when I first saw this, I thought to myself, wow, that looks cool, but it also looks super cheesy in sort of a, you know how you watch anime and every season there's this kind of childish, shitty anime shonen there for the boys demographic? You know, I'm talking about like LBX or Dan Balsenki, or like, you know, the next Beyblade. Like, it kind of reminded me of that sort of thing. And so I thought, well, that's kind of dumb and cheesy, but I suppose that goes with what Pacific Rim is. But then someone pointed out to me that, you know what, it kind of looks like Evangelion. And I see it. I definitely see it in the gypsy on the front. And I believe the director of the first movie, Guillermo del Toro, has said that that's where he got its inspiration from. And I can definitely see it. The other thing that I thought when I saw it was Gypsy Danger looks a lot like Reinhardt's younger angsty teen brother, Reinhardt being from Overwatch. So that's what I see. But yeah, it looks cool. Definitely looks like if they make toys of this, I'll probably be in on it. On a slightly related note, NECA, the company who made the previous Pacific Rim toys, they have stated that they are not working on Pacific Rim Uprising, and thank God, because those toys were awful. So this week I got a package in the mail, and in that package was a pair of Gundams and a figure. First Gundam is the one you guys have already seen, and that is the high-grade Hekija from Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, and this is Laughter's kit, or Laughter's Gundam, and I know that because her face is on the box. As you probably have guessed, I only bought this for one reason, and that's for her, because she was the best IBO girl. And now she's gone. So that's that. Next thing is a Build Fighters kit. You all know this one as the Luna Gazer. The Luna Gazer seems pretty cool. When this was first released or announced, I thought this was the Lady Kawaguchi's Gundam, but it's not. I believe she just used a regular Stargazer. This looks cool. The stickers in this kit are interesting because they're the reflective green, but I don't know if I want to use them or if I want to just paint them gold. So I'm not entirely sure I'm going to go with this, but yeah, no, Luna Gazer's pretty cool. Build Fighters is still awesome. Surprisingly, though, in the box, there was a third Gundam, which I didn't order. This is the Floros. I've already built this. I have this. In fact, funny story is, when this kit first came out, I couldn't get a hold of one from any of the online hobby shops, so I had to go and ask a friend to buy me a kit of this one from a store in the other city, which is a little overpriced. But for some reason, this was in the box that I ordered from HLJ. So either someone made an error or something happened, but I have another Floros, so cool. And then the last thing in the box was a Figma, and this is Zero Suit Samus. Zero Suit Samus being the Metroid character, you know, her outside of the power suit. So pretty cool. I was super hyped when this thing was announced. I've heard mixed thoughts on it though now that it's come out, but whatever. All I really wanted was a Zero Suit. She's my favorite character in Smash, so that's why I picked her up. The only downside about this was when I ordered this, the day after I paid, I think Good Smile ran a campaign where they just said basically every Figma now comes with like this cool scarf and you get a random color choice. I didn't get that, so I'm a bit bummed. It's not like I would have used it, but it's just one of those things where it's like, oh man, if I just waited a day, I could have gotten something else for free, but oh well. You win some, you lose some. And then probably the pickup of the week for me was this. Went to my local comic book shop and got the DC Collectibles Batman Beyond set. This comes with Terry, Bruce, and Ace. Now, Batman Beyond is my favorite Batman. I have a lot of fond memories of the animated series, but I remember really falling in love with Batman when Batman Beyond appeared because I just really like Terry. I don't know. I guess for me, I've always liked angsty teenaged heroes. I think that's why I like Spider-Man so much, because he's just a regular dude who has to try and also live his life. Terry's sort of the same way. The only difference is he has a mentor in Batman, or a mentor in Bruce, and I just really like the way that dynamic worked, especially as a kid. I don't know why. I think maybe it's because I found it relatable or something, because, you know, we're all teenagers at one point and we all think like the world's out to get us and whatever, and you don't want to listen to an older figure in your life, such as your parents. And I think that's why I really like Batman Beyond. But regardless, Beyond is cool. Now, I'm not a fool. I know that, you know, for my personal tastes, I probably won't like any of these toys because DC decides to, like, the design aspect of these toys is just, they go for the accuracy to the cartoon first and articulation if it is available to them. So, for example, Ace, I don't expect Ace to move at all. Bruce, he's an old man with a cane. I don't really need him to move at all. Batman's the one I'm interested in. I can see he has joints, but I mean, I know he's not going to be, you know, as good as, say, a Marvel Legend or even a figure art or anything like that. But so we'll see how it turns out. I'm hoping it's great, but I'm expecting it to be dull. So that's that. It's time for the feedback portion of the show, and the first comment comes from Mr. Potato Head. Hey, do you watch other toy review channels or any other YouTube channels at all? Of course I watch other YouTube channels. Who do you think I am? I mean, I think we all watch YouTube, even if you are a creator or if you're just a viewer. I think everybody watches everyone else's. I mean, there's tons of toys that I'm interested in that I don't pick up, but I still want to see coverage of. So definitely I watch other people out there. And yes, we all know each other. Like, for example, I think I just watched Zakurelius's 1 to 100 VDR. I know Mecha Guy Kotsu has a video up for the Rex, because I mean, I really want to know what that's about. So yeah, of course, I watch other people out there. I don't watch YouTube as much as I used to. What I used to do was just put on YouTube on my PlayStation and then just go to like the recommended toy feed, and then it would just run through things all the time, and I just always have that on in the background while I, say, build kits or filmed my own reviews. So yeah, as I was filming my own reviews, I would have other people's reviews in the background, and I would just, you know, turn over whenever I was taking a break. So yeah, of course I watch other people's stuff. I mean, chances are, if you've ever made a YouTube review, at some point I've probably seen it. That's how many YouTube reviews I've seen in these past couple of years of just being part of the hobby and community. So yeah, of course I do. Pixelman wants to know if I would ever consider doing paid customs for people. I doubt it. I mean, at this point, I don't feel like my work is good enough to be doing or to be charging people for. And I feel like if I were to do something custom, there'd be a lot of pressure on me to do it, and I would take it very seriously, and I think that would just take all the fun out of it for me. Getting money for work totally would be cool, but it's just not something I'm really focusing on right now. Again, it's one of those things that, like, if Gundam were my only hobby, then for sure that's something that I could see happening down the line, but it isn't, and so that's just not something in the cards right now. Jim wants to know what's going on with Toy Talk, and it wasn't just Jim. A lot of people are asking what's going on with Toy Talk. Toy Talk still happens. It happens not on my channel anymore, though. It happens on Mead's channel, or Mead's Lemica. He hosts it now. They know how to do it. You know, in the past couple of months, I've been busy with scheduling and whatnot, and I just don't really have the luxury or the time to do it as I would like to anymore. We usually do it on Monday nights. The thing about Monday nights is, you know, over the past couple of months, I've had, you know, I'm into cycling, so I have a spin class on Monday nights, and then over this past month, I've been doing yoga, and there's a yoga hot class that runs at night, so I just can't really attend that kind of stuff, or I don't have the luxury of carving out huge chunks of time for Toy Talk, because Toy Talk is like a 2-hour show, and unfortunately, I don't have that much time during regular people hours to do it. If Toy Talk were to happen at, say, 1 in the morning, totally I could do it. But then that doesn't work for the other guys. I mean, Gabe and Meads are on the West Coast, so that doesn't really work for them. And Peter, who's on the East Coast with me, I know he can't stay up to when I'm doing it just because he has work and stuff to do, and he also has a wife that he has to devote time to, and like that's all fair. So it's just a scheduling thing at the moment. Like I do miss talking to them, and I do miss doing it, but at the moment it's just not something I can't really afford to do with our current schedule. Do I watch Dragon Ball Super? The new arc is coming. Any hype? No, I don't watch Super. I kind of have no interest in it. I will say I did like the first part of it. I believe it was the Battle of the Gods thing, because I especially love the Battle of the Gods movie too, because it reminded me of Dragon Ball, that feeling of Dragon Ball, but it just had with the cast of the Dragon Ball Z characters, and that was fun. But Dragon Ball, I think I've grown out of it, and it kind of pains me to say it, and it kind of breaks my heart because it was such a big part of my childhood. But yeah, no, I have no interest in Super, and I don't know why, because I've heard great things. You get past the first couple of arcs where the animation was a bit dodgy, but like I see images now and there's like a female Brawly, and that's super cool, but I kind of just don't care. And yeah, it hurts me more than anything to say that. B3, did you watch Fooly Cooly? If yes, are you excited for second and third season? I think Fooly Cooly is a great little anime series, but it's something you definitely need to watch more than once to fully appreciate. I do not want to see a remake or a second or third season. I think the 6 episodes that it was perfect, and it doesn't need to be anything more than that. And on top of this, I'll go and say something else too, because one of my favorite anime series is Code Geass. I believe there's a R3 or a season 3 coming out this year. All I gotta say is why. Code Geass ended perfectly. It didn't need anything more. I don't know why people are excited or what more you wanted to see. Like, I get it. You like something and you want something to continue, but at some point, it's just got to end. That's what makes things great, is if you can just end it. And and all my favorite series are always like 1 or 2 seasons long. I hate super long things because it's like, for example, Dragon Ball. It just kept going, and I grew to resent it, and I grew to just fall out of love with it. And so when I see things like Fooly Cooly and Code Geass get new seasons and new adaptations, I'm just like, why? Like, do not ruin this for me. Like, but hey, if you're pumped for it, that's cool, but it's just not something I'm into. With so many toy companies out there, do you have one that you hate the most? If there is, why? Well, of the toys that I've bought, I guess the one that I don't like the most is NECA. And NECA makes some cool things, but their quality is just very questionable. I don't think I've ever owned a single NECA figure that didn't break, so that's that. That said, things could be worse. The toy line that has some cool properties, but makes just some, I don't even know if I'd call them toys, is McFarlane Toys. They have these Titanfall figures, but they're more or less just statues. Statues with a moving arm. So like, there'll be an elbow that's stuck like this, but there's a pivot point at the shoulder, so it goes like that. And you're just like, what's the point? They make all the Walking Dead figures, they make Gears of War, and it's just, I look at them and I think their sculpts and their paintwork are amazing, but then it's like, they're not toys. They're just statues. They're just adjustable statues, and they look so pointless to me. And then they're not exactly cheap either, so yeah. NECA, McFarlane Toys, definitely things I am not into. And the last comment is from Action Figure Squad, and he basically wants to know if I ever thought about creating an Instagram to post my pictures. Well, I do have an Instagram. It is my personal Instagram, and it is @VNC. I put it at the end of every video, so you can definitely see it there. But I think a lot of people don't really recognize that it's a thing because I don't put it in the description window. And come to think of it, I should probably do that. But the thing is, it is my personal Instagram, so it's not all toy-related stuff. It's just mostly what's Vince up to kind of stuff. So a toy dedicated Instagram, let's say like an @type V3 Instagram, I've thought about it, but then the more and more different sort of social media aspects you add on to your YouTube channel, just the more and more work it's gonna take. And for me right now, all I want to focus is on the YouTube stuff. It's why I don't have a dedicated Facebook page. It's why I don't have a dedicated Instagram page, because it's just more work, and more work is something I don't really need right now. So I'll just focus on here on YouTube. If there's anything you want to see, just let me know. Like, put in the comment section below, and maybe we can work. I'll try and think of something to bridge the gap in that sense. But otherwise, yeah. And that's another episode of TV3 done. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, a little bit of an announcement for next week's show. It's going to be a little bit more news focused. It's going to be a little longer, and it might be a little bit later because next weekend is both Toy Fair and Winter Wonder Festival. So expect a lot of cool stuff coming out from those two toy shows. The reason it's going to be a little bit later is because generally I film this show on Friday. I use the weekend to edit, and then I post it on Monday. But with both of the big toy shows happening on the weekend, I'm gonna have to push back the filming to a later time, so that just might, squeeze my scheduling a bit, and depending on how much free time I have, I don't know if I'll be able to get the Monday schedule out in time. Otherwise, you can look forward to a pretty jam-packed episode. Also, don't forget, if you do want to intro the show next week or in a couple of weeks, or anyone, just send me a PM, send me anything, an email, anywhere you want to send it to me. Just send me a downloadable link to your video, just introing TV3, and I'll make sure to put it in a subsequent episode. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. All right, that's it for me. I'll see you guys next week.